Hi, everyone, and welcome to Beyond the Ballot, a Lone Wolf production. This is the podcast where we talk about local politics and the issues that really matter to our community. Today's episode is a special one. I'm here with Mr. Frank Miele, the
Good evening.
superintendent of the Mahopac Central School District. Frank has also been a huge part of the Mahopac community for decades as a resident, educator, and coach. So he brings a really deep perspective to this conversation. Mr. Miele, thank you so much for having me.
Well, first of all, it's my honor. Secondly, what a privilege to be able to speak to our community, one that I truly love. I've always said this, I bleed blue and gold. I graduated from Mahopac. I've had a number of jobs here, this being my last job as a superintendent. Tonight is a very special night that I get the opportunity to present, the first three propositions of our budget. So thank you for having me.
So today we're going to focus on the 2026-2027 school budget that was just passed, along with the Proposition 2 and 3.
Right.
And before we jump into it, I also want to take note that I do have a personal stake in this. I'm a Mahopac resident, and my children attend schools in the district. So these decisions impact my family directly. All right, let's get started.
Well, first and foremost, I need to say that we've, since I've started here in August, we've done a number of things. Probably the number one, I think the most important thing, we had the opportunity to bring my confidential secretary, Melody LaRocca. That kind of solidified me, gave me an opportunity to do a lot of things, as well as solidified our cabinet. So that really got us started off on the right foot. I just want to say that I am so proud of this district. I've had the opportunity to be in almost every class, pre-K up through third grade, fifth grade, right through middle school, high school. And every time that I go in, something special happens. And the special thing is our students and the relationship I have with them, and the relationship I see that they have with our teachers and our staff is really remarkable. And I have to say, this is a special place with a lot of great things happening.
And how many years have you dedicated to the school district?
I graduated a long time ago, and my work career it's 55 years. This is my 55th year, my last year. Like I said, I am so humbled and honored to be in this position, to leave my mark not only on sports, like I was known for, or coaching, but to leave my mark in all of the areas. And like I said, I'm really proud of the things that we've accomplished this year, and I think I'm leaving it in a better place than when I started in August.
So let's get started. My first question is in regard to the 2026-2027 school budget,
Right.
which is Proposition 1.
Right.
How does the proposed 2026 and 2027 budget compare to the 2025-2026 budget in terms of total spending and the tax levy increase?
Well, last year for 25-26, our budget was $145 million. This year, the proposed budget is $148,309,000. We're looking at a 0% increase. We're very cognizant of our taxpayers. I'm as frugal as they come. We've looked at every avenue, every area as far as our budget. We've made some, changes where, we were spending maybe where we shouldn't have. We kind of brought it over to things that we needed. And so, between, what our community's paying, our tax levy, and our capital reserves and our fund balance, our state aid is at 30%. We think we can sustain a 0% budget this year. Next year is a little different, but this year, our school board feels we can sustain it. The thing that I'm really proud of is that while we're still at a 0%, we also are bringing in 4.5 new teachers.
That was going to be my next question. Where are you going to see the spending? Where is it going to be with staffing, special education, or whatnot?
Well, right now, we haven't eliminated any staff, which is awesome. A lot of times when you're trying to bring your budget down, the only way you can kind of bring it down is by eliminating people. We feel that I would never do that. If I thought we were going to lose people, then we'd have to make some other decisions as far as our budget numbers. But right now, we're bringing in a behavioralist, which we need. We're bringing a library media specialist. We're bringing a teaching assistant. Our PE and art was at .8 last year. We made those full-time positions, which will really help us, not only in our general ed population as well as our special education programs. We're looking at an adaptive phys ed person specifically for the elementary schools. So like I said, I'm really proud of this budget. I'm really proud of the fact that our principals, our coordinators, our directors, looked at their needs and their wants. And when they came in, I gotta have to say they came in with some very good numbers. Like I said, our class sizes are going to be the same. We haven't lost anybody. We've added teachers. We also took a look at some areas of staff that was outside of our school district, our occupational therapist. We're spending a lot of money getting outside services, so we brought 2 of them in to save some money. So like I said, I call it creative financing, but we've looked at every area, and I think myself, our cabinet, our staff has done a great job in really coming up with a great budget for this year, for next year.
So how much of the new budget, the 2026-2027 budget, relies on fund balance, reserves, or state aid? And is that sustainable long term?
Well, right now, we're at a zero. We're going to have a 0% budget. We're using capital reserves, 3.4 of our capital reserves, which
is essentially the carryover?
No, that's not the carryover.
Okay.
This is money that we've had. It's in a reserve, in case of emergencies. So we're taking 3.4 of that. We're also going to use some money from our fund balance at the end of the school year. Any money that hasn't been used, we'll use it on next year's budget. State aid is at 30%, which a lot of times you don't know what the state aid is going to be. So our business person, Alyssa Murray, does a great job as far as trying to figure out what we're going to get. It's almost like guessing, but they kind of go back there's a little history. You go back last year, you go the year before. So we're hoping that things pretty much stay the same. So, like I said, we're using 3.4 from the capital reserves. We think, next year, is a whole different year. This year, our board feels that we can sustain a 0%. We feel that, we have money. Why should we keep it in the reserves when we can pass it along to our taxpayers? Listen, I just need our taxpayers to know they are truly getting their money's worth. Like I said, I've gone to a lot of classes. I've seen a lot of things. I've marched in, kindergarten parades. I've gone to sporting events. All you have to do is come here any night, any weekend. I've gone to school plays. We have a tremendous chorus, band, unified sports. Like I said, we had March Madness this year, which we brought back. I'm really so proud of this district, more so now than I think I've ever been. Like I said before, I bleed blue and gold. This is my home, and I am so proud to be in this situation and, put my handprint on the entire district.
Is there anything else you want to add about the school budget before we move on to Proposition 2?
I just think that, once I go out and for the next month, I'm going out and I'm meeting various groups, the chamber, the Rotary, senior citizens, the fire department, the town hall. I think if I do my job, even at 0%, if I do my job and I present and show people that they're getting their money's worth, I think we're in a great spot. I personally think people know me, they trust me. We've done a lot of things in this community. I've been involved with so many activities. Like I said, when I look at people and I'm talking to them, I'm almost like looking at my own mother and father. and I'm really cognizant of the taxes. Listen, everything goes up. I mean, I wish I could eliminate half of the taxes that people pay, but I can't. I just want them to know that they're getting their money's worth in what we're spending, and we're looking at it very frugally and with their best interests at heart.
Okay. So the next topic is Proposition 2, the
Yep.
purchase of school buses, which is a pretty hot topic. What is the total cost of the proposed bus purchases, and how does that compare to last year's bus spending?
Well, right now we're in a program of a 12-year program that our district started a while ago. We're in the 9th year. Each year they'll buy 10 new school buses. Last year the budget was 1.5. This year the budget's at 1.6 for 10 buses. So once we bring those 10 buses in, we will eliminate 10 buses that have either 10 years of life or 80,000 miles
Okay.
that they've used. So we have one 30-passenger bus that we're bringing in. We're bringing in two 20-passenger buses and 7 65-passenger buses.
And these are all diesel,
All
right?
diesel.
Okay.
Right now, there's a lot of concern about electrifying our buses, and I'm not the only superintendent that has a concern. Everybody in New York State at this time, when you start talking millions and millions to be able to electrify your buses, and then you have to worry about the substations to electrify them, and the cost of electricity. I know Governor Hochul thinks this is going to be, next year or the year after, that, we need to start electrifying our buses. To be honest with you, I'm not sure. There's a lot of pushback to it, and
Safety
I don't
is
know
a
how
concern,
safety.
and as well as the financial.
The safety part, I don't think the buses, especially in the wintertime, can go as far
Right.
without, using electric. Plus the cost of, just putting the chargers, into our, bus garage. It doesn't seem sustainable, especially with, the rising cost of everything.
Right.
Between our general ed, our special ed, I just think
And it costs a lot more, correct, for an electric bus?
absolutely, the batteries and different things. I just don't think, they've done some studies. I don't know if the bus can go from here to Arlington and then come back, to be honest with you, especially during a cold day. So everybody's looking at it right now. Superintendents are very concerned. We're all writing letters to congressmen and senators and Governor Hochul, hoping that they kind of extend and give us an extension as far as what we need to do. I just don't see how it's sustainable.
Okay. That's fair. So will the purchase of these new buses, though, impact the tax levy? And if so, how much for the average taxpayer?
Really, it doesn't impact it. It's kind of a different formula. It doesn't impact it directly as far as the levy. From our business person, she stated we issue a bond anticipation note, and it's debt service over time. So we don't pay it all at once.
Okay.
It's kind of, we pay it in
Can I say like a
installments.
credit
Right.
line?
So we
almost?
pay it
Okay.
installments, so it's not. It doesn't, it doesn't hit us right away, and it's really just part of our operating budget. Like I said, we really push for them. There was questions. People would ask, well, listen, because you're, people pushing for electrification of buses, then maybe you should hold off buying diesels. But we felt the other way. We want to have these diesels, as a protection for us, and in case something happens, we still have a
And they
solid
were very
fleet.
necessary for now.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely. Like I said, we're in that plan. We're in the 9th year of a 12-year plan. So yes, we definitely need it right now.
All right. Moving on to the last topic of today's episode, Proposition 3, Establishment of Capital Reserve Fund. What is the maximum dollar amount this Capital Reserve Fund can hold, and what is the timeline for reaching that amount?
Well, first of all, it's $10 million, and it doesn't cost anyone any money. It's just gives us an opportunity to have that money in case, we need, something done in the near future. And it's kind of a reserve, but at the same time, it's a 10-year period, where you can use it for special things. New York State looks at it as one of our safeguards, which was mentioned. Any money that we use from this reserve must be voted upon by the community. So last year it was brought up, and it failed. So it kind of hurt us a little bit as far as our ability to use any money. So this year we're bringing it up again. It's $10 million. Like I said, it doesn't cost anyone any money right now, but it just gives us the opportunity to use some money.
And where does this money come from exactly?
From our current or future unassigned and unexpected fund balance. So that's money that is not used during a specific year. And this is at the discretion of the board at the end of the fiscal year based upon the annual audit. So, they'll take a look at it, and it can only be used for specific, items. It can't just be used
Like what kind
just
of?
for uniforms. It can't be used
Right.
for books. It can't be used for, it's really a capital reserve as far as
So what specific items, if you had to?
really improvements to like buildings and different sites, roofs and
Okay.
things along those lines. It could be HVAC, anything that involves our buildings and structures along those lines.
Okay. And my last question, which you already answered, where the safeguards are in place, and that's New York State.
New York State. Everything goes through New York State, and like I said, you don't want to mess around with New York State Education Department because they'll jump all over you, and that wouldn't look good. So.
All right, so that brings us to the end of this special episode. Is there anything you want to add before we conclude?
I do. I'd like to say that I mentioned it before, this is a very special place. We do a lot of great things. This, I feel, is, I'm very cognizant of taxes and, people having to pay taxes. And listen, gasoline is at a high premium right now. Everything is sky high. But remember this, everything revolves in this community around our schools. Any night you come past this school, every field is used, our gymnasiums are used, the baseball fields. You go to Lakeview, you go to Fulmer Road. This is the hub of this community. And like I said, people are getting their money's worth, I feel. Our kids are outstanding. Our teachers are spectacular. Our staff does a great job. Like I said, I cannot be more happy about ending my career in this manner.
All right. Well,
Okay.
Thank you for that. Be sure to keep an eye out for our next episode where Mr. Miele and I will continue the conversation and dive into Propositions 4, 5, and 6.
Well, I appreciate you having me and for giving me this opportunity. Like I said, this is just the beginning of this, this tour that I'm going on for the next month. And
The final tour.
the final tour, which is going to be awesome. So thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you all for watching and listening to Beyond the Ballot. If you found this helpful, don't forget to like, subscribe, and leave us your comments. We'd love to hear from you. Thank you.